aliens. Okay, full disclosure, I don't know where this image came from. I found it while I was researching for this video, and it looks like someone made the creepiest woodland trail discovery. Obviously, I don't think that this is evidence of a real alien or anything, but my logical brain wouldn't be working if I saw this for myself. It's probably part of a movie or a TV set, or an art installation or something like that. Although, maybe it is a group of aliens. Alien skulls have been dug up across the world, most notably in Central and South America. In 1928, the Paracas skulls were discovered in Peru, and in 1999, 13 elongated skulls were found near the Mexican village of Onavas. Scientists believe that the skulls are a result of cranial deformation, which was more common in ancient times, but of course, some conspiracists believe that they're evidence of an alien race visiting Earth. Then, of course, there was the Atacama alien found in Chile in the early 2000s. The strange 6-inch skeleton appeared extraterrestrial looking and had many people convinced that it was from an otherworldly species. Number 9. Polish vampire burials. From 2014, vampire graves began to be uncovered in the graveyard of the Polish town of Drosko and were then found to exist across the country. It seems that a number of bodies were buried with rocks between their teeth, a scythe around their neck, and stakes in their chest, suggesting that people believed they were vampires who may well rise up and cause undead chaos. So, were there vampires in Poland? Probably not, although the fear was real. Back then, people didn't have a good grasp on science. During the decomposition process, bloating can force blood up through the mouth, making it look as if a corpse has recently sucked blood. The bodies were mistaken as being the supernatural creatures and were buried accordingly. It doesn't make the discovery any less scary, however. Number 8. The Mystery Feet. One of the weirdest and most unexpected mysteries of the past 13 years has been the Salish sea feet. Since August 2007, over 20 detached human feet have been washed ashore around British Columbia in Canada and Washington State in the USA. The strange recurrence has made major news headlines across the world, and nobody knows why the feet keep washing up. Steady streams of feet have been found each year, although the last recorded case was in February 2019. There are a number of theories as to how the feet have kept turning up, with some suggesting they could be lost victims of the 2004 Asian tsunami, although DNA identification suggests otherwise. At the moment, this is an ongoing unsolved mystery. Number 7. The Globster. Another terrifying and unexpected find washed ashore in the Philippines in February 2017, making international headlines. Something that looked a little like Falcor, the luck dragon from the Neverending Story, washed up in a sorry state, leading people to believe they'd found a real-life monster. The shaggy mess was discovered in the fading light of the Earth evening along a beach in the Oriental Mindoro. At a time when most people were out taking a sunset stroll in the sea air, this monstrosity ruined the atmosphere with its grotesque appearance and foul smell. Local fishery law enforcement officer Vox Cruzada said that it smelled something like from another planet. Cruzada had to get up close and personal with the creature, as it was his job to take tissue samples for DNA testing. He said that even after taking a bath, the stench still lingered on him. Subsequent analysis revealed the creature was a whale, although what type was never actually determined. Many locals saw the monster as a bad omen and were worried about what might be coming next. Number 6. Benjamin Franklin's basement. Benjamin Franklin was one of the founding fathers of the United States and a clever inventor who helped pioneer electrical discovery. Before returning to America to sign the Declaration of Independence in 1776, Franklin lived in London at 36 Craven Street, right by the River Thames on the embankment. These days, the property exists as a museum to the politician, and in 1998, over 200 years after his death, a shocking discovery was made during renovations. 15 bodies were found buried in a windowless room underneath the garden and seemed to date back to around the era that Franklin was in residence. While the politician and inventor is a much-loved historical figure, he also had a darker side. He was a Freemason and a slave owner, although he did later become a cautious abolitionist. Why there were 15 skeletons buried in his garden has caused much debate, but the Franklin Museum suggests it's a result of an illegal anatomy school run by a friend and protege, William Hewson. Number 5. Smallpox. Smallpox was one of the most infectious and deadly diseases in history, dating back to the ancient Egyptian times. The disease was thought to kill 400,000 people per year in Europe in the 18th century, and in the 20th century it was the cause of 300 million deaths. In a major scientific victory, a vaccination was found and the disease was finally eradicated in 1980. It was once mandatory for children to be vaccinated. These days, it no longer happens, as we're not under threat from the disease, or so we thought. In 2004, a book containing an envelope of smallpox scabs was found in a university library in New Mexico. While there was only a very small chance that the scabs could contain the live virus, that is still a pretty terrifying discovery, especially when most of us these days won't have been vaccinated. In 2014, 6 sealed vials of smallpox from the 1950s were found in an FDA lab at the National Institute of Health in Maryland. These were destroyed by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. If smallpox was unleashed again, we would be in major trouble, as most people under the age of 40 would be vulnerable to the disease. Number 4. Cursed cheese. Now, I know some people like their cheese old and stinky, but this is really going too far. What's thought to be the world's oldest cheese was discovered in Egypt in 2014. The cheese dates back 3,300 years, which is what I call pretty ripe. The cheese was found preserved in an old jar and was discovered to be a blend of cow and goat cheese. That actually sounds pretty good. You would not want to eat this cheese though, and not just because of the ancient Egyptian curse rumors. Analysis on the dairy found that it contained bacteria of a highly contagious disease, brucellosis. The disease is spread from bovine animals to humans and can give people a severe fever and nausea. So I'd hold off on trying the cursed mummified ancient cheese. Number 3. Scottish dolls. Imagine how you would feel if you stumbled across 17 miniature coffins hidden in a cave. In 1836, a group of boys were hunting for rabbits on Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh when they came across the concealed collection of caskets in a cave. When they opened them up, they found small wooden dolls and handmade clothing. The news caught on, and the Scotsman newspaper, which is still running today, claimed the discovery was proof of witchcraft. The publication blamed weird sisters hovering about Mushet's cairn who retain ancient power to work the spells of death by entombing the likeness of those they wish to destroy. This sparked a lot of superstitions in the area. Others believed that the coffins were the work of murderous Burke and Hare, who killed vagrants and elderly people and sold their bodies to medical institutions. They were known to have dispatched 17 people, and some think that the tiny coffins could be the work of a guilty conscience wanting to give a proper burial to their victims. To this day, the real reason the dolls were hidden in the cave is still unknown. Number 2. The battle. During World War I, Italy and Austria fought one another way up in the Alps in what's known as the White War. The soldiers struggled to fight one another in terrible, harsh conditions. The clash took place 12,000 feet above sea level and lasted for 4 years, making it the highest fight in history. In 2014, nearly 100 years on from that clash, glacial melt revealed the lost bodies of nearly 100 fallen soldiers. The men were thought to be around 18 years old, and one still had a spoon strapped to his leg, ready for when he would eat his next meal. That is so heartbreaking. Number 1. Gate to Hell. Ancient civilizations were pretty cool and everything, but the history books make them seem kinda dramatic. They believed in all kinds of weird and wild stuff, including doors to the underworld hiding in plain sight. It turns out that actually they may have been onto something though. In 2013, a hell portal from Greco-Roman mythology was actually found in Turkey, much to everyone's surprise and concern. Ancient literature describes the entrance to the underworld being a misty cave where the ruling god Pluto would kill animals at whim. One such gateway was in the recently rediscovered city of Hierapolis, where priests were said to stand guard. The portal's deadly property was often displayed by people throwing birds into it, which would drop down mid-flight. To the ancient people, this was proof of Pluto's existence and proximity. It turns out that it actually did exist and is still a dangerous place today. Archaeologists uncovered Hierapolis and the so-called gateway to hell, although rather than being a passage to Pluto, it seems the cave was giving off poisonous carbon dioxide fumes. Small animals, like birds with smaller lungs, are way more likely to drop dead when exposed to the gas for a short period of time. The ancient civilization was onto something, but they used a mysticism to explain what they now know is science. It might not have been a hell portal, but a poisonous gas cave is still a scary discovery. That was the 10 scariest and unexpected finds. Which of these discoveries would freak you out the most? And would you try the 3,000-year-old cheese? Let me know your thoughts and answers in the comment section below.